All right, we ready?
Hit it.
Gentlemen, here we are, episode 9, maybe 12 of the Teammates podcast. I don't know about that, but episode 9 of the Monday one. Changing things up a little bit this week. We're looking at week 7 recap. So all the matches besides one are still up in the air, or all are done, but one up in the air. Welcome Cody to the pod. Friend of the pod, Cody, will be joining us today, so that's exciting. Get his thoughts on a team that's good at fantasy football this year, unlike Herschel and my team.
Hey, he did.
Reworking the power rankings. Gonna be talking about, I would call cliffs in the power rankings this week. Some cliffs. We're not gonna be highlighting the week 8 matchups. We're gonna instead do that later on the Thursday throwdown. But we'll finish up with our waivers again as we have bye weeks and some injuries, some key injuries happening this week. So let's go. Cody, welcome to the pod, man.
Welcome.
What's up, fellas?
Thanks for
I
joining
always
us.
like the backgrounds you guys come with. Cody's got a nice little array there. We got sports. Is that, I don't know what that is. That's Star Wars?
Yep, on the
Star
right.
Wars,
Yeah.
you idiot.
I can't. Well, I mean, my eyes.
Is that
one.
Black Widow on the left?
Yeah, that's Black Widow. I
That could
stole
use
that
it.
from a movie theater somewhere, allegedly.
That could use an
Oh,
upgrade.
don't. What if one of the 30 people that watches was the person that said, "Where'd that poster go?"
Yeah, I wouldn't worry about it.
Yeah. No, but yeah, thanks for joining us. Let's just kick it off right away. We always start off with my matchup here. Ran up against Shane. I ran up against a tough matchup. Well, he really showed up. Huge contributors from his defense, and Aaron Jones made a sighting, which was good to see, even though the Packers are not good at football. So thoughts on this one, Kerschel?
I mean, it's pretty. The running backs, right? That's what I pointed out in the Thursday throwdown. I think they came through for Shane, and that's what he's going to need going forward, right? He needs Aaron Jones. He needs Pierce to be off the charts. And I think he's one of the few teams that avoided, a major injury this week, right? Tyreek got out, got Godwin.
Yeah.
So, he's looking all right. And he picked correctly between Tua and Dak. We had a discussion about that earlier. It was a 3-point difference, didn't mean anything, but he did choose good. And now he has Tua next week versus Detroit.
What's your thoughts, either Cody or Herschel? What's your thoughts on Detroit? And the reason I'm bringing that up is just, does Detroit just suck now?
Detroit is really good against mediocre or bad defenses. When they come up against a good defense, and we've seen this a couple times, New England and the Cowboys now, they put up a stinker.
Sorry, I just realized too. I was thinking of. I'm gonna get to that. We'll come back to that Detroit comment. That was an idiot move of me. I'm sorry. I was looking at the wrong game. You just scroll my notes, but
Shane
no.
got a little.
So I guess.
Oh, go ahead.
Oh, and I was gonna say, like, from my perspective on this game, I don't know. Njoku's probably a big loss for my team. He was definitely a good pickup that I had off of the Pitts overspent on that, round 3 in the draft. But
He's tight end 4
overall,
right
I still
now.
like my team. Obviously, didn't have Allen, and Ryan sucks and hurt and those things. But I look down my team. I still like this team going forward here. We shall see what plays out. But I do like what you said about Shane's team. Week to week, of course, you like and hate teams, but he'll go with Aaron Jones if they continue to use him in the passing game. I don't know what the Packers got going on, but again, he'll struggle with streaming quarterbacks down the road. I mean, he just doesn't have a guy that's probably plug and play every week yet. So we'll see what he does. And but with Hill and Godwin, those are good guys there. So, any thoughts, Code?
Yeah, I mean, you got to give it to Shane for like his just roster management in general. He's pretty active all the time, and he always seems to find those diamonds in the rough, especially at quarterback. So I know he started off rough with what's his nuts, but he'll figure it out, I think, eventually.
No.
And obviously Dallas was a huge pickup for him this week too. So.
Huge, yeah.
Yeah, that was a great find. And that, I guess that's my Detroit comment too, of like they just don't look good. And then obviously Amon-Ra got hurt again. So
Wrong game.
we'll see. What?
Wrong game.
No, Dallas played Detroit
Oh, okay, I got you. All right.
from
But
a defensive perspective.
that's a good point.
No, so that's what that comment was coming into. But I wanted to hit on that with Eric's as well. But
Absolutely. One quick question.
yeah, so we'll see. We'll see.
When streaming a quarterback, what point total are you going for? Like, like, I always aim for 20 points, right? That's what I'm trying. I'm
Yeah.
not going to play anyone that doesn't have 20 points in their more likely than not outcome.
Yeah, well, let me give me a second here. I'm gonna look something up real quick.
I think that's a little high for this year, considering scoring's
Yeah, I was gonna
down
say, I was
7
wondering.
points.
So if you look like this week, there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. There's only 5 quarterbacks, not counting this game, of course, going on right now. 5 quarterbacks that went above 20.
That's not right, is it?
That's week 7. What are we at? We're
Oh,
week
you're
7,
right. You're
aren't
right.
we?
Yeah, a bunch of 19. Yeah,
How the
yeah.
hell is Fields already? Jesus, this is wow. Fields is already has 21. Oh, there you go. You should have played Fields again, you idiot.
Yeah, see?
That's surprising.
22, yeah. 10 rushes
What
again.
a weird week. You got Andy Dalton and Daniel Jones. Jeez Louise, I really picked that wrong. But, this is probably a low week for scoring, too, besides your fucking Joey Burrow. But, no, I would say 20. 20 is a good benchmark, yeah. All right, let's move on. All right, let's go to Muse versus Bones. Game, this is the only one still up in the air. Bones is down 3 right now with New England's defense going. So if he points against is hurting him. Turnovers will help him, sacks, all those fun things. But all in all, I mean, there's not a lot to say from my end. Most of these teams don't deserve to win. I mean, 75 points is going to win this thing. I mean, that's no good.
I mean,
And Bones literally 4 guys got hurt on his team. 2 of them obviously didn't finish the game, and then Elliott and then Andrews both were injured. But, I mean, I don't know. Elliott might be out. Andrews sounds like he'll play again, but I don't know. Not a lot to say there. These are both bottom barrel teams. They're not making the playoffs, in my opinion.
Yeah. Andrews is a big red flag, and if someone doesn't watch this and isn't paying attention, I would try to move Andrews if I was Bones, because you don't know how long he's going to be banged up. If you could get, a good haul for him, might be worth it. Might be too little, too late right now. I mean, even Mixon would be a sell high for me too, but yeah, I mean, losing. It sounds like St. Brown avoided a concussion, so that's good, right? Sounds like he'll play next week.
Yeah, sounds like Metcalf's out for a little bit at least.
Yeah, at least 3 or 4 weeks, I heard. Muse has too many Cardinals, by the way. Too many Cardinals. Cardinals are the 32nd offensive team, like worse than the Bears. Yeah, I don't know. He's like me, picks okay players on bad teams. What do you think, Cody?
I mean, you're looking at, Muse has got nothing good going for him. Jeff Wilson, he got some carries. That's going to go down. I mean, that was just, McCaffrey's going to take the ball from him. I mean, even though he did look good, but McKinnon's not worth rostering. I mean.
Yeah, I don't know. I think his team could be pretty nasty just to ruin someone's day going into the playoffs. But I agree, probably won't make the playoffs.
Are you talking about Bones or Bones?
Sorry, Muse.
Muse.
Yeah, Hopkins fell right back into where he was. 10 catches on 14 targets. Obviously, he didn't get in the end zone, but still. And then he's got Cup coming off of his bye. The whole Akers drama with the Rams. So you're thinking Henderson hopefully figures some stuff out going forward. And he's got Connor on the bench, too. So, he is pretty heavy on a few teams. But I think he could definitely wreck some dreams potentially for the 5-6 or even seeding going into the playoffs. So,
yeah, for sure. Stacking those players like that. They don't really have any correlation, but still, if a team pops off, week 13, he could ruin a day, like you said.
I gotta throw you under the bus here, Kershal. You were high on Gallup. You were jerking off Gallup. Is it Gallup's droppable, right?
I don't know, but probably. You could play him against Detroit here. Yeah, there's not big, huge matchups coming up. He lost time to Noah Brown a little bit, but he still played 67% of the snaps. He had to play him in this spot after coming off 7 and 5 targets, and Dak coming back versus Detroit. Yeah. It wasn't a bad play, but yeah, I probably wouldn't drop him.
I'm not saying it's a bad play, but he's not doing it.
I would bench him, yeah.
Other fun little fact, I didn't know if you guys saw this. Kenyon Drake, 11 carries, 5 yards. That's doing it.
We were wrong on that. He should have left him on the bench. And in the big one, but really that was really late. Like when they said Gus Edwards was taking first team carries at the beginning of the game, everyone should have put in Edwards and taken out Drake. Me included, if I wouldn't have been so hungover.
I
There
do
you go.
think for Bones though, I think he's got to move a running back, and I mean he's got Carter on the bench, which could work out ahead for him with Brees Hall going down with the ACL. And
They
like you said, Mixon could be a trade candidate potentially too.
absolutely. Do you think
So
Carter has any? Does Carter's value change at all because they traded for James Robinson today? I think
that's
it's pretty
true.
much the same.
No, I think that says what they think about Carter, right? Is they're going to get. I mean, because isn't Carter? He's a rookie too, or second year? What is he?
No, yeah, second year.
Second year.
Yep, pretty good receiver. It looks like. I mean, a lot of catches, and that
But
works
yeah, he's
well
only
with James
playing like
Robinson.
he's only playing like half the snaps now. You
Mhm.
got to figure probably next week against New England, he'll probably get a higher snap percentage, and then probably after that, Robinson takes over, I guess.
It's such a bad. I mean, it's bad luck here because Carter has two of the worst matchups: New England and Buffalo. Right when he has a new guy coming in, so he's going to get more carries and stuff, and then a bye week. So it's kind of a bad break for Bones.
And then right back to New England too.
Oh, it is. Yeah.
Yeah. But I mean, to that point, I feel like if Metcalf's out for a little bit, St. Brown is, I mean, banged up, but hopefully doesn't have the concussion. If he needs to get a mid-tier receiver, he might be able to flip him for a mid-tier receiver.
Yeah. He has a lot of pieces. He can do a lot of stuff. Yeah.
Yeah.
There you go, Bones. Make some moves. All right, moving on. Big matchup of the week was, at least from a ranking perspective, we had T-Fink going against Odie. Odie did what we kind of anticipated and played a guy down. Ultimately, he'll pay the penalty for that. But I mean, I don't know. He shouldn't have done anything else. He did the right way, in my opinion, as well, to pay the money to keep Goddard on his team. But Travis is, man, But here's my thing, and I'm gonna give Travis a hard time on this. I was talking about Shane this morning. This is why fantasy football is luck. It's because you look at Josh Jacobs. Josh Jacobs is playing so much better than ADP. And no offense, Trav, I don't think you knew that Josh Jacobs was going to play above his ADP this year. And it's just crazy how some of these guys just fall to you. So kudos to you for maybe making that choice over other guys that we would have taken before him. But, man, he's got the 1-2 running backs right now in the league from points for. So that's... There you go. I mean, and he's got a good team around it as well.
It seems
beyond
like
that, I go ahead, Kershal.
Oh yeah, it seems like whoever he puts in just seems to get a touchdown or have a really good game, right? I mean, just look at his tight end position again. I know I called this out last time, right? He puts Freiermuth right back in there after and he puts up 15 points, 9 targets, and we're talking like an average player on a really bad team with a really bad thrower, right? In Pickett, and it still works out. And Josh Jacobs, talk about another. I mean, I'll give him above average player, right? I mean, right now on a terrible team, right? I mean, the Raiders are in a bad spot, but yet, like you said, Josh Jacobs is. It says running back 4 here, but I don't think it has this week calculated in. Yeah, and Eckler is on pace for 126 receptions. Something has to give, is all I'm saying. There's going to be a little regression to the mean of occurrences, of things that happen, right? Is all I think. Cody, what do you think? Are we dogging Travis too hard?
Holy shit.
I don't know. Have you seen the Chargers play, though?
Yeah.
I watched them 2 weeks ago, waiting for Mike Williams to get a catch. It took him, I don't know, 2.5 hours to get one catch or something.
That was versus the
All
Broncos.
he did was throw to the running backs.
Yeah.
It was Sony Michel, it was Eckler, or it was the tight ends, it seemed like. So I don't know if they're not getting open, the line's bad or what, but he's probably just going to keep getting fed.
Yeah.
Whether it's carries or catches. So.
Yep, and those catches are so much more efficient for him, right? He doesn't take as big of hits or, gets in space.
He's got 3 games now with more than 10 targets. That's unreal.
It's insane, those numbers. Like, if you're at all onto something, Kershaw, with this regression, which definitely makes sense, he is in somewhat of a trouble though, because like his receivers are nothing fantastic, right? Like you look at Lamb and Lazard, okay, and Deontay Johnson, I think they said he has the lowest like yards per reception in the league. So the guys is like they're not doing anything.
Yeah.
So if he does have some regression from a running back perspective, Fournette is going to lose carries to White. He's going to the snap counts are just changing slowly over the weeks. So we'll see what happens there. But
it's the worst offense the last 2 weeks too. Tampa.
Oh yeah, they look terrible.
But you know, he did pick up the starting running back. Granted, he lost a lot to Foreman Hubbard in just a free agency pickup too. So he's out there making decent pickups.
He's making good moves. I'm not going to doubt it. He's making good moves, but we shall see. Like I said, Odie's team's looking good. That $93 spent on Kenneth Walker is paying off. Two great weeks in a row, getting a ton of volume. So.
Yep.
There you go. All right, moving on. Let's look at Tony versus Daryl. And Daryl does have COVID right now, and he messaged me to take it easy on him on his fantasy football team, guys. So I said we table it. No, I'm kidding. But yeah,
how many times you've had COVID though? Like it's got to be like 6 or 7 at this point, right?
Shit, he's like patient 0. Not a lot to say for me on this. Tony had a good solid week again. I like that. I can't remember pronounce his name. The running back from Kansas City is going to get the more work going forward. So that was a great pickup. A week early. Daryl's team continues to falter. He jinxed himself with that trade of Tyreek Hill, and I don't know. It's falling. Debo's going to probably miss at least a week.
Yeah.
With a hammy.
Not to mention the long-term effects of just picking up McCaffrey. I think that hurts Debo the most. He's not going to get those
100%.
No more carries.
Yep, exactly. And yeah, I mean, 1 carry, 2 yards. I mean, that says. I mean, they were playing from behind, and Kansas City beat the shit out of them. But no, I mean, I not a lot to say here. Daryl's going to struggle. His bench is weak. Yeah, I mean, Tony's team is going to be good. It's a competitive team, pretty well-rounded team too, which I like. There's not a lot of holes there.
It's a big win for Tony to lose Miles Sanders and Diggs and still, put up a convincing win.
Absolutely. And he did 11 points from Everett. We were getting a lot of shit from Hawkinson dropping him, but he got 11 out of Everett, which wasn't bad.
Scored more than Hawkinson.
I mean, fucking Tony knows something.
Yeah, I mean, Tony's team is clearly better.
Total sidebar. So, people that weren't at the party, Cody, but Tony's leaving, and he's wearing like a mustard bottle costume. Typical Tony fashion. Tries to throw it in my garbage as he leaves. Well, we caught him. That was funny. All right, let's go on. That one is that. All right, we'll finish with Cody's game. So you and Cody's game. We'll go John versus Sam here. Sam finds a way to win 117, John 102. John continues his slide and losing. Doesn't even set a full roster, just giving up on that. So good luck on Rogue, sir. Good luck on Rogue. Sam had a decent thing there, but he lost Hall. I mean, I think that was honestly a knife in the coffin with him. It's a huge loss. I mean, that guy was just huge.
Yep, that's a big loss.
So, I think Sam wins this week, but ultimately probably sees himself. I mean, I see him losing down the road here again with, I don't know. We'll see. And then John's team is meh. I mean, obviously ETN's good. He'll see more carries now with Robinson being no longer there, but
it was a tough break for John. Swift was kind of a latish scratch, right? And, that could have been the difference here. Could have been a 15-point difference somewhere. But at least, I mean, John won big this week with ETN, has the job 100%. Looks great, had 100 yards this week. And then Sam had the biggest loss, losing Breece Hall, who was probably going to be the rookie of the year.
Yeah. I mean, John will get better. Swift's going to come back. That's going to help. I mean, John's running backs actually are decent. I mean, okay, Hunt's not that bad.
ETN and Swift, yeah.
ETN and Swift are 2 good running backs to carry, but the rest of his team is just not there. One interesting thing I thought of was just playing rosters, obviously short benches and things like that. I did find it really interesting that Sam goes out and picks up Pitts just on the hope again that he should be better than he is, but doesn't play either Clyde Edwards-Helaire in that spot, which at that point was still the lead running back, right? We didn't think that he would be different. I just found that an interesting decision, but Pitts is just
2 tight
don't
ends
know.
this year doesn't make any sense. I don't know. Like, there's only 3 tight ends that are no-brainer plays. I don't know. I would have rather picked someone up off the free agency than play all except 3
Yeah.
tight ends at the flex.
Yeah, no, I would agree.
What do you think, Cody?
I mean, I would agree there. I mean, he's got to move on from Brady, though, right? I mean, I
Yes.
feel like he just had like multiple weeks in a row, just subpar work.
Brady, I had something. He is quarterback 12, interesting enough, but he has only scored 20 points 1 time, right? In his last 2 outings, he had no touchdowns this week, 1 touchdown last week, and even 1 versus Atlanta, right? They lost that game too. We've been saying it for a while. He needs to cut him.
Yeah, no, he's got to cut him. All right, let's finish it up. You two, you guys played each other. Cody, another very convincing win. So I mean, pseudo, like I think I want. If Cody wins, like I might win too. So Cody's been my sleep pick. But Kershaw, welcome to losing again. We had a hope last week that this team might turn it around. In bad management, buddy, I'm gonna throw you under the bus, right? Jeez, you just left all kinds of points sitting on that bench.
I blame the sangria. I still wouldn't have won. I mean, even if you add it all up.
No, I mean, who cares? I'm just gonna give you shit about the bad management. But no, Cody, my thoughts on yours is, again, still like your team, well-rounded team. Obviously lost Williams for a while. I know it doesn't necessarily hurt your team so much, but you got great depth at receiver. But ultimately, he was kind of a boomer bust guy and had a great week this week. So we'll see if they put him on IR. I don't know if he'll go that far. But anyway, yeah, great win. Huge points again. So.
And I don't know. I don't think we have much to talk about this matchup. I'm not much of a competitor versus Cody's team, so I'm going to kind of transition this into the questions for Cody, right? So Cody, I was looking through your team, right? You didn't draft your team, correct?
So sort of.
Okay.
So Schroeder drafted the first 5 picks, but I was kind of like texting with him as he was doing it.
Okay.
So I gave him a little bit of direction, especially at the spot I was drafting.
Yeah.
I was like, I think it was 4. And I was like, I'm targeting Jefferson. Like, you're getting Jefferson. That's who you're going to get.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, luckily for me, the only way I wasn't taking Jefferson is if one of the top 2, for whatever reason, dropped down. And that probably would have been a disaster for me anyway. So it kind of worked out.
Yeah.
And honestly, the one pick I kind of gave him gruff on was Burrow in the 5th.
Yeah, it was. Yeah.
And honestly, Burrow's, I mean, he started out a little bit slow, but 2 games over 30 points. I mean, 3 more games over 20 points. So, I mean, quarterback 3 right now. So I can't complain too much. I mean, just early in the 5th is all, but.
Yeah, no, he stepped up.
And to continue off that, right? Like, I've noticed, and I guess I didn't know that you had such a hand in drafting it. That's good to hear, because you've only made 2 moves that are non-kicker, non-defense, right? So this is largely the team you drafted, right? I think you picked up Madison at one point, and you paid big for Williams.
Madison and Williams.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, I'm glad you were reading my notes, because that was the only thing I wrote down for this entire pod. But,
My bad, yeah.
I've only had 2 pickups, and I thought I was really cool and all that stuff. And I started flipping through, and we got like other guys like Odie that have like 1 move on the year, and he spends $99 or something.
Yeah.
So it is kind of wild. So yeah, I've been pretty fortunate so far with health. So we'll see how Mike Williams goes. But like you said, we got a little bit of depth there. So
yeah. And
sometimes not making moves is the move. So
absolutely. This has been one of the worst waiver wire years that I can remember, right? There isn't a lot there. Walker was the guy. We had a few ones that we thought with Garrett Wilson and things like that, but that's about it. Williams was
you're
another
exactly right. We've been huge misses. There's just been nothing picked up.
Yeah. It's hard to hit anything, really.
Real quick question to wrap up your guys' matchup. Just more of a curious from the injury perspective and the move from Indy is does Ryan being out now lower value? You got 2 guys on your team, Kershaw, right? With Taylor and then Pittman. Does Pittman go down? I'm assuming with the rookie now throwing the ball, or do you think they just feed him the ball based on a rookie's kind of safety net?
Well, the thing about Pittman, he plays underneath, so that's going to help. And the Colts don't have much for tight ends, right? You got Mo Alley Cox, but they don't use the tight end position as much as other teams. So Pittman will be good across the middle still for this guy. So what's his name? It's like L here or something like that. And basically, it's going to be good for Taylor. Taylor's the one I'm excited for with the change because basically the way he's been described is like Jalen Hurts, except he sucks. So basically, he plays like that. He just doesn't have the throwing chops, basically.
Like Jalen Hurts, but you suck.
Yeah.
Thank you. No, I was just curious. All right, a couple of questions for you, Cody. Let's get in that, and then we'll hit the power rankings. Okay, so ever since when fantasy football first started, Cody was the spreadsheet guy, right? You do look at all these guys' rankings, throw them in a spreadsheet, he'd kick out you these rankings. So that's changed, right? We know that's changed, and you've bitched about that for years, right? You're like, fantasy football sucks now, like, and whatever. So now that you're winning, what will be your reasoning, or what was the change this year? Just letting Schroeder draft for you, or what was the change that got you to this spot?
Just start off 0-2, complain about the power rankings that some people make on a podcast somewhere. And then, I mean, honestly, don't change your roster at all and just fucking destroy people. That's like really all there is to it. So, I mean, it's been pretty easy. But no, honestly, I did zero prep going into the draft. Honestly, I haven't been paying attention to football much. I'd say the last couple of years because the Vikings have been terrible. But I always force feed 4 for 4. They give me some gambling deal, jump into that, check that out every now and then. But
Sure.
I mean, I've used other things. Like there's literally websites now that gather consensus rankings for you, which I used to spend like, I don't know, 40 hours on.
Mm-hmm.
And now you can just do it with a click of a button. So
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, that's changed the game with waivers and everything. It definitely is not as, you don't need to know shit. You just got to read the right stuff. Or follow the right person that year. Another question I have. So you just need to give justification because you were called out for your fantasy football name. So you got to explain that to people who don't follow the hockey world.
Well, first of
Who's
all,
this guy?
figure it out and watch hockey. That's step one. Step two, Cale Makar is a young defenseman for the Avalanche, and he's probably already a top 5 player, and he's like 23. Last year won best defenseman. He also won playoff MVP, and he won the Stanley Cup. So
read a
pretty good
freaking
player. Sick pun from, I don't know, 1999 or something with Dude Where's Makar. So
I
I
mean,
just went with it, stuck with it, and it's not changing it now.
I didn't know it was I thought it was a great name even without the hockey reference, by the way. I didn't even know Makar was a player. I was just like, oh, he just doesn't know how to spell right and shit. It's like, all right,
Yeah, we
fair
can go
enough.
ahead and check the tape on that. I'm pretty sure you said that was the worst team name.
Okay.
Yes.
I was just getting fed. I was just getting fed lines. You know that.
We'll
All
have
right, no, last
Bones
serious
to figure
question I
that
have for
out.
you. If you were to say obviously you haven't made a lot of moves, which is completely fine. Maybe you stay the course minus injuries, but if you were to make any changes or find any weaknesses to kind of start thinking about the playoffs, which is where you'll end up, any thoughts you're looking to like maybe shore up a position or just gonna play it out?
The biggest thing I think I need to shore up is a running back. I kind of got 2 middle of the road guys right now with Montgomery and Singletary. I mean, they can pop off, but it's definitely few and far between. So that's one. And honestly, I've tried to do it. Trading in this league is just tough, honestly, unless you're going stud for stud or a
Right.
running back receiver or something. So it's tough. So it's I thought maybe Williams might kind of take off a little bit. Detroit struggled, so that didn't really help. I think he had one really good week, maybe 2. And then it's tough. So we'll see how it goes. Probably stay the course, see what's out there free agent wise. Maybe you catch someone on a bye week and find a guy, but
Sure.
Yeah.
No.
So I had one more question, not too fantasy football related, but do you have a Super Bowl pick? And does it line up with your fantasy aspirations for your team?
I'm trying to think if I picked early in the year. I can't remember. Sometimes I'll just throw money on teams.
Oh yeah.
Let's see. I want to say I took the Chiefs in our team auction, so I was kind of leaning on them. I don't think I have any Chiefs though.
Nope.
But yeah, honestly, the NFC at the beginning of the year, I didn't really feel strongly about anyone. I mean, especially the Vikings, and they're 5-1 somehow. So,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
yeah, I don't know. You kind of lean on players like you think, the Bengals could go back, so they're going to throw the ball a ton.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, not directly when I'm drafting. I don't think.
No, yeah.
That's good. Yeah. That's always an interesting strategy. We talked about that on an earlier episode too. Of like, do you want you want good teams with okay players or shitty teams with the best player? And there's definitely like that problem where they throw up stinkers because like they just suck. They
Team
just
puts
suck.
up 6. Yeah.
Team just overall sucks. But anyway, awesome. All right, let's get to power rankings and we'll finish up with some waivers and get out of here. All right, so a little bit of movement this week, and I want to talk a little bit about the tiers as we go through this. But Kershal, why don't we kick it off? We have number 12. Who do you got?
We got Muse at number 12 in the dumpster. Sorry, Muse.
Yep. Sorry, Moose. Even if you win here, at 70 points, can't do much there. Coming in at 11, we have Kershal. Same thing as last week. Yeah.
I still like the pickups. I like the pickups. Foreman and Edwards. Something could happen. And at 10, we have Bones. Down 2 spots.
Yeah. Bones is just injuries are going to kill you, and your team wasn't that deep to begin with. Not that it can be huge in TMH, but injuries are going to hurt you on that one, buddy. Number 9, so that was a drop of 2 spots. Number 9, we have John. The slide continues for John for a 2-0 start. So down he goes to number 9.
And we have Shane. I guess when you beat the guy that makes the power rankings, you get a big boost. We have Shane at number 8.
No, I mean, the thing is with Shane, it was a good jump, but you look at his team, he's got guys that can go, right? I like that team. I don't know if I like him to be, contending against teams like Cody and Travis and those teams, but for us bottom tier teams, that's a good jump for him, I think. I put myself at 7 again. I didn't move myself up or down. I'll say this, and it is a factor though, is like points against are killing me. I'm getting a lot of points against. I'm consistently putting up over 100 every week, and I just can't seem to fucking get a 70 point against me game. So we'll stay at 7.
At 6, we have Sam, who, had a big loss this week. We'll see if he can hang in that top tier of the playoff spots.
Yep, and then we have Daryl at number 5. And Daryl, again, the slide continues, but I really think that this is where the tiers stop for me. So I think that 5 through, I think there's 4 to 5 teams playing for 2 spots of the bottom 7, right? I think there's a couple teams that aren't going to sniff it. But I think there's like 4 or 5 of us are playing for those last 2 spots. And Daryl would be probably at the level of the top of that bottom tier to me. So he stays at 5 from last week.
Yep. Daryl called it. He lives or dies with Jackson. And I also want to,
something's just that offense, man.
Well, it struggles versus Cleveland historically. And I didn't get my Najee Harris line in earlier. I read something funny on Twitter where Najee Harris trying to turn the quarter on the outside is like when you played against Bowser in Nintendo 64 and he took forever to turn. And he was really fat and slow. That's what Najee Harris looks like. Anyway, at number 4, we have Tony. Tony with a big win this week, and he might have the most well-rounded team here.
Yeah, I honestly, when I was putting the top 4 together, I was just, and again, I'm going to get shit for all these spots because Tony actually moved down a spot, but these guys are somewhat interchangeable here. Really, they are. So I had 3. I had Odie going down 2 spots. I don't know, because I can.
Yeah.
And that's why you're down to 1 to 3.
And at number 2, we have Travis, who, like you said, he's got number 1, number 2 running backs. Hard to beat that.
Yep. Friend of the pod, Cody, we're going to put you at 1, sir. So there you go. No, you have a great team and continue to put up good points. But again, I think there's just that top tier. I mean, it's hard to find. Fantasy playoffs are always different. Like any team can beat any team one week, but those top 4 teams continue to put up good points even on bye weeks. So we shall see how the rest of us fare out. But fantasy football is a bitch. You get a bad injury here and there, your team can turn quickly, especially with limited bench spots like we carry in TMH.
Sure.
So
one quick question, Cody: if you were to win TMH, who would you predict that would be your playoff MVP on your team?
I mean, honestly, it would probably be it'd probably be Chubb is who I'd go with.
Mm-hmm.
He's kind of been a workhorse already. But Jefferson's probably going to be slaying the most points out week in, week out. So
Yep.
probably have to check the matchups, but between those two, it'd be one of them.
Yep. 15. It's Indianapolis, Giants, Green Bay for Jefferson.
The Giants defense not a great matchup.
Yeah.
But
Oh yeah. And then Chubb is Baltimore, New Orleans, Washington.
It might be all right.
You might be right there, yeah.
yeah, that's a good question too for these top 4 teams, right? Like it's pretty obvious they're gonna make it in. So that's the point too of when you start to look ahead to those matchups, and that's like when you're making moves, Cody, too, for your team. It's like you can't just make a move. You got to make a move for weeks 15, 16, 17 too. Especially with defenses and things like that are a little bit easier to predict than a one-off week for a player. So it'll be interesting to see how these teams position themselves. Obviously, still wanting that 1 or 2 spot, so you don't guarantee yourself a top 4. But it will be interesting to see. All right, let's wrap this thing up. I only have a few waiver pickups. There was some key injuries, but as we kind of mentioned earlier, I don't think that there's a ton of great waiver hits that have been hitting off. Walker was being the one that sticks out, but Juju, back-to-back great weeks, getting targets. Patrick Mahomes is good at football, so people around him are naturally going to be better at football. So I had him as if you're looking for a receiver to pick up, he is looking good.
Cody, who should be on a team? Who should have not been dropped?
The one that baffled me was the Hawkinson one. I saw it late. Otherwise, I was planning on picking him up. Whether that's a good move with Ertz or not, but I planned to try to pick him up, and I just caught it late, so I didn't get it. But
yeah,
he's my big one. I think we said Robinson's on a team already, right?
No, James Robinson did. Shane did drop him.
Shane dropped him,
so he'll be the big pickup.
Okay. Yeah. He'd be one of them I'd probably be keeping an eye on. I think it might take a week or two before he really takes off. The one move I debated, depending on if Swift was going to play or not, was picking up Tyler Boyd. That was more of a short-term play, though, and he actually had a great week, but kind of a move that didn't happen. But
yeah, I mean, everyone
for the next couple weeks.
Yeah,
especially didn't Chase get banged up a little bit too?
They think, he might have got banged up a little bit at the end, but they said that last week too. So I don't know. It's hard to keep up. Hard to keep up when Burrow's throwing 480 yards a game, 300 before half. Insane.
That's a lot.
Like last week, I think we were talking about how there's this big abundant amount of quarterbacks. Well, now there's not that this week. So if you need a quarterback this next week, it's going to be tough. I mean, you're really going to be looking at Daniel Jones will probably be the top fab getter this week, coming off 100 yards rushing. You know who Daniel Jones has more rushing yards than? Najee Harris.
I was going to say Elliott, but damn it. Okay.
Anyway, but yeah, there isn't much at quarterback. That's one of my picks there. In running back, we kind of picked him over, right? We went and got Foreman, Edwards, Chubb, the other guy in Carolina. James Robinson's one that we mentioned. Antonio Gibson, I think, is the best running back in Washington. He should be on the team. But that's about it for running back. Wide receiver, I'm just going to hit him quick. We got Boyd, Hardman, Juju, DJ Moore. Paris Campbell had back-to-back good games. Those are all guys that could be on a roster. And then I'm just going to keep going really fast with stashes. Jalen Warren, Herbert from Chicago, Malcolm Brown, P. Ryan, backup for Bengals, James Cook in Buffalo, Damian Williams in Atlanta, and Madison are all guys that you can't play but are good stashes on your team. And that's a nice part. We have plenty of stashes.
Sometimes you play that lottery.
Yeah.
If you can.
That's a nice part.
Hill's on Justice Hill. I picked him up just as a stash of I don't know what the fuck that Baltimore is going to do back there. So we'll see.
Absolutely.
But no, those are good ones. I had you got me on the Gibson one, as well as Robinson going over to the Jets land. We'll see if Carter is any good at football too. I don't know if that guy is rosterable, but somebody's going to get the carries now. So
are the Jets good? Right, that's my question. Right, their record's good.
No.
Yeah.
First of all, I don't even know. Like, I'm always amazed when I look at the stat line of Zach Wilson, and I'm like, "The fuck you doing?" But they're winning games. So, I mean, Joe Flacco won a Super Bowl, and Trent Dilfer and all these guys who didn't play well. But anyway, there we go. Any other thoughts, Code? Thanks for coming on.
No, I think we're good. I mean,
Oh,
I hope the train keeps moving. I don't know if we're number one power rankings worthy, but those top
damn right
four,
you are.
You might have got the guest
I
boost.
feel like they're interchangeable, to be honest. So, I mean, Odie and Travis have way less points against. Me and Tony have pretty high points against, but we're trucking out those points just as much as those guys. So it'll be
Sure.
interesting last couple weeks.
No, it will be interesting. I mean, and you're the well, you and Travis who haven't won it yet. So there you go. We shall see. But no, like I said, guys, we'll hit up on Thursday. The Thursday Thunder will break down the week 8 matchups for this 12 of us. But yeah, send in your thoughts if you got any thoughts on those or anything else going on with fantasy. And then we'll start just forecast for the playoffs and hopefully figure out who's going to fill these last 2 spots. So there you go. Thanks for
Travis
listening,
moves
guys.
into the number 1 spot. Oh man.
See you
Later,
later.
guys.
Peace.
Yeah,
There you go.
He has the most points for.
Who does, Travis?
Yeah. 825.
Yeah, I know, that's not surprising.
Within like 30 though.